What's up, guys? My name is Baby Smooth, and I'm here to show off something I've cooked up in the oven. This is one of the best, fastest leveling and early to late game builds, but you're not going to want to run this in hard mode monoliths. Trust me, you're not going to run this past level 90, but once again, this is a leveling build. You're going to have a great time playing with it. It adds so much variability, and this is just the fundamental basis for you to create your own stuff. And let's get into why that is. Starting with Flame Rush. Turn into a ball, do cool stuff. You can see I have an entirely lightning build, I'm gonna be honest. Flame Rush is great, it's our bread and butter move. It is going to murder everything in its path with a huge explosion, and it's also gonna leave a glyph behind. That's important later. Everything in this build is cohesive and works together in some way, shape, or form. It's very cool. Now the kicker, you can use all of these moves if you're ice element, if you're fire element, and if you're lightning element. I'm not saying you have to choose one element, but I think it's a good strategy with Rune Mage when you're leveling to just pick one and stick to it. You're gonna find items that increase certain spells like lightning damage. You're gonna find stun chance. You're gonna find lightning penetration. I recommend sticking to one element at a time. You do not have to choose electric. I just think it's pretty cool. I feel like Gandalf or something. I feel very cool doing this. Next, we're going to talk about one of the most OP moves in the game right now. It's going to be Frost Wall. Frost Wall does a lot of things for us. When we run through it, we're gaining ward and we're gaining mana. Let me just open my skills to show you guys what's kind of important here. So we already talked about Flame Rush. Getting this makes it leave a glyph when you land. And that's incredibly important because our glyph is doing so much work in this build. Also, a fun thing that it does is it casts Runic Invocation when we exit. For those of you that don't know, Runic Invocation is our big, absolute domination move. When you press this button, stuff explodes, cool things happen, and everything just goes bye-bye. So back to the skills. Flame Rush, you're going to want to make it electric if you're going for an electric build. This will turn it into ice. If you're doing fire, just keep it as fire. It's that simple. Now, I'm not going to claim that I've optimized this incredibly. There's probably some of these runes that are better. It might be worth it to check out these. I just didn't bother because I'm not really fire. I don't even think you have to be fire to do it. But I'm content with these. When you're in this Flame Rush, you are literally invincible. It's basically like a dodge move that actually blows everything up at the end of it. Also, we're gaining the buffs, the sustainability after Flame Rush is over. So for a move with a 3.5 second cooldown to give me buffs after it's over, to reduce my damage taken, to, just do tons of damage, to do everything, to give me ward. I should probably buff that one more time. It's crazy. This is an absolutely incredible move, and I'm a big fan. When you pass through Frost Wall, it causes the explosion to deal damage in a much larger area, and its chance to crit hit is doubled. So let me show you Flame Rush. It's pretty big, right? That's the glyph it leaves behind. Don't get it twisted. Then we pass through it. Bigger. I don't even know if you can tell, but it is bigger. You just gotta trust me. Everything's bigger when you pass it through a Frost Wall. Back to the task at hand, let's talk about Frost Wall. So Frost Wall, you can make it electric, you can obviously have it be ice already, and you can make it fire. Now, a beautiful thing about this build, again, it doesn't matter what right click you take, you have options. You don't have to use Lightning Blast. Due to Frost Wall's compatibility with Fireball, and its compatibility with Rune Bolt, literally any element will work. Something I don't recommend with this is getting these bottom left ones. These will make your Frost Wall explode. You think it would be really cool, but it's just not. I mean, it kind of feels badass to pass through the Frost Wall and have it explode behind you, but it's just not that great. Next, we're gonna talk about why the lightning is so good. It's just scaling with Lightning Blast. I think it's one of the best variables here, to just have it be spamming Lightning Blast, and it's just a good time. Next, we're going to talk about Runic Invocation. Runic Invocation is an incredible move while you're leveling. It is your die button. It is your absolutely blow up everything in your path button. And it scales really well. It interacts with some cool stuff, just like everything else in this build. Runic Invocation sends your enemies on a vacation to hell. It becomes a movement ability that will also prevent you from getting absolutely clocked. This is a good oh shit button. If you don't want to get absolutely destroyed by something, if you made a misplay and you don't want to get exploded, press this button and they'll explode instead. Now, it's a great move. It doesn't matter what element you are, you will have a different effect. Surely nothing will troll you. Everything will be usable. I do recommend not taking this talent. Do not take Enigma. It's just a waste, and it's going to ruin your life. Now, for super cool, fast leveling, I actually was using Invocation causing Elemental Star Field. Basically just making Novas. That was really powerful, leveling up. It was very powerful to just murder stuff with that. Before you have access to Glyph, really, it served as a great AoE. Obviously, you're not going to have access to some of these moves when you first start. Everything is replaceable with other things. If you go Ice, you're going to want to grab Frostclaw as your main. You're going to want to grab maybe even Glacier until you have access to the Glyphs, until you have access to Runebolt. You're going to live your life. If you go Fire, Fireball is such a great move for leveling up. If you go Electric, grab Static. This build does transition incredibly well. Just pick one element and stick to it. Now we're going to talk about the biggest piece of all. The hero of the build, the unsung hero. The slept-on Demon King ability of death itself. It's so good, kind of, for leveling. I think it might fall off in late game. It's a little bit annoying to play around the way that I'm playing around it, but it's pretty good. We're talking about Glyph of Dominion. You say, Baby Smooth, that's not a late game move. You get it late. I mean, it's what, like level 30, level 35, maybe? It's totally not 50, right? That would suck. Let's talk about why this is good. First of all, it works with Lightning Blast. It can also work with some other moves as well. Glyph is incredible for a few reasons. It's increasing our tankiness while we stand on it. You gain 30% resistance with just 2 points down here. Do you know how important resistance is while leveling? Of course you do. You fought that big squid man that slaps you around and sneezes on your face with lightning bolts. You've died to him. I've died to him. We all have. We all suffered. To whoever that jerk guy's name is, the Kraken. I didn't like that guy. So, with the Glyph, it's serving as incredible damage over time, but it's also, I'm using it as a buff. I'm buffing myself. When I stand on it, nice things happen for me. I gain resistances. I honestly, my gear has changed a lot. I don't even bother maxing my resist anymore. I just make sure I have a Glyph. Because get this, you don't have to just press the Glyph. You can press your Flame Surge, and it ends on a Glyph. I think it's now time to show you the gameplay, and I'm totally not going to die. You do have to pay attention. You do have to focus up a little bit. But it is so good to just have permanent haste from these. You see a pack of enemies, you explode them. You don't have your buttons anymore, you explode them with a different big boy button. Once we find something worthy of fighting, we'll settle down and we'll smack it around. I don't think it'll really have a chance. Now, the reason I say this is not a great endgame build is simply because you could get smacked around if you're not playing good. All right, let's run to the boss at lightning speed. Lightning McQueen. Welcome to the Lightning McQueen build. This boss does not have a chance. It's literally dead before I could even do anything. And this is past this build's prime. I didn't even get to Runic Invocation him to death. Bro really took a Runic vacation. All right, let's talk about gear though. For your gear, I really think it's a great idea to pick one element and stick to it. So I've chosen lightning right now. I used to be fire, but then I grew up and I realized lightning is pretty cool. So most of my stuff has lightning damage. I mean, it's not like you have to just spam it. You could even go general spell damage. You don't have to commit to one element if you're afraid of commitment. It'll probably be easier to transition out of it if you just go for elemental or spell damage, either one. I'm just going to mouse over everything. An important legendary, in my opinion, that makes this build really cool is this Apex of Thought. Are you an Apex thinker? A genius, if you will? You gain ward per second for you or your allies while standing on your Glyph of Dominion. And while standing on your glyph, here's the important part. Your ignite chance is converted to fire resistance shred. 100% of your chill chance, or your chill guy, is converted to cold resistance shred. And 100% of your shock is converted to lightning resistance shred. If you're wondering if that's good, the answer is yes. And you might think, well, Baby Smooth, I don't want to go around standing on these glyphs all the time. They last forever, bro. That's a long time. A lot of the game is standing in a spot defending an objective, and when it's not, you just lightning ball, and there's your glyph. That's it. This is such a cool playstyle, in my opinion. You will be putting up portals, running through portals, and doing cool stuff on the other side of those portals. These aren't portals, they're walls. It's the same thing. Watch this. We're going to do it again. We see a mob of enemies, and they're gone. We got an ice beetle. We're popping off. These guys deserve to die. The mortar enemies, you know what? Screw you in particular. I'm using my big boy move. He's just dead before he even gets to exist. You do run into problems when your moves are on cooldown, but it's nothing to cry about, really. Just, run around a little bit, wait for your lightning ball or your runic invocation. You'll notice I'm not really putting glyph down too much on its own. I don't do it while I'm just running around. I don't really see a true purpose because it's just a better usage of time to use either the wall, because it's giving me ward and movement speed, or to use Runic Invocation if I'm trying to kill something. Turns out we were going the wrong way, so we're going to go charge the beacon. It's really nice to just run around and have stuff die around you. I'm sure most builds do this, right? But the difference between the builds that kill stuff and this build is that this build kills stuff while you look really cool doing it and while you run really fast. I'm Vrooman. I'm literally Lightning McQueen. There's a few boots in this game that will give you insane bonuses with haste and interact with movement speed bonuses. They're really going to be a good pickup for you. Let's talk about items that you can use. Literally anything that has your element in mind while you're leveling. Pick fire, pick ice, pick lightning, and stick to it for a little bit. I would say pick your element based on what legendaries you've gotten. And if you haven't gotten any uniques, legendaries, whatever you want to call them, it's fine. This build literally does not rely on specific items to be viable. It's just up to your brain to make the right choice based on the damage that you have the most of. Or just YOLO. Honestly, I think the game is very playable without even following specific guides. We just got smacked and we're chilling. See, the damage resistance from this ward is really nice. Really keeps us afloat, and we gain so much shield. Leave a comment below if you think I'm an idiot. Oh, I should have been flexing.